Good evening. Thank you for attending the council meeting this evening. And we had a closed session, which we have been having quite a few closed sessions before our council meetings. And one of the reasons is we have litigation, that people are thinking of suing us or something, and we have to talk about that in private. And we aren't able to release that information to anyone and tell you what's going on. So some of you may see that and wonder what's happening, but that's actually what's happening. So this evening, we have another thing that we will have no Zoom. We have technical issues with Zoom. The other night, we had technical issues with our microphones, and tonight, we have technical issues with Zoom. More volume? Maybe I'll have to get closer. So there will not be Zoom comments this evening on any oral communications. So with that, I would like to ask you all to stand for the, I'm going to do the land acknowledgement first. The City of Arcata acknowledges that the lands we are located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Past actions by local, state, federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous people from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The City of Arcata acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations, and this acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy narratives of settler colonialism. So the next item on the agenda is the flag salute. You may join us if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, nation, indivisible, with. Thank you. May we please have a roll call?
Mayor Stillman,
Present.
Vice Mayor White,
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Here.
Councilmember Matthews,
Present.
Councilmember Atkins Salazar is absent, but we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. So tonight we have one ceremonial matter, and that's a proclamation in recognition of the National PACE Month, September 2025. And so Councilmember White is going to read the proclamation. Thank you.
So whereas the elderly population in Arcata and throughout Humboldt County is growing rapidly with a significant impact on health care needs and costs, and whereas the program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, PACE, is a fully integrated, comprehensive model of care that allows older adults who qualify for a nursing home level of care to continue living safely and independently in their homes and communities. And whereas participants enrolled in PACE receive all Medicare and Medicaid covered services, along with additional support such as rehabilitation, transportation, nutrition, social engagement, and family caregiver assistance that promote overall health and well-being. And whereas PACE programs assume full financial responsibility for participants' medical care and related services, including transportation, hospitalization, and long-term care through capitated payments for Medicare and Medicaid, thereby helping to control costs for the state while improving quality of care. And whereas Redwood Coast PACE, a program of the Humboldt Senior Resource Center, has served more than 650 older adults in Humboldt County with day centers located in Fortuna, Eureka, and now Arcata, providing a trusted local resource for families and seniors alike. And whereas PACE has consistently demonstrated improved health outcomes, greater participant satisfaction, and enhanced quality of life for older adults while supporting families and strengthening communities. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata recognizes the month of September 2025 as National PACE Month and encourages all its citizens to recognize the importance of Redwood Coast PACE in ensuring dignity, independence, and quality of care for our community seniors. Dated September 17th, 2025, by our Mayor Alexandra Stillman, and this will be accepted today by Barbara Leahy.
Hi, I'm Barbara Leahy. I'm the director of the Redwood Coast PACE program. And thank you so much for this proclamation and supporting our program. When we started 11 years ago, prior to that, we had to do a feasibility study, and they outlined that we would probably have 130 participants and level off. And I'm proud to be here 11 years later, and we have 369 participants in our program. We continue to get calls every day. I think we have 50 already this month, and we have 3 different sites. We thought we were going to stay in Arcata, stay in Eureka, and we expanded in 2020 into Fortuna, and then just this year into Arcata. We're really excited. Each of our centers have a day center where participants can come for the day, play games, have some activities, get to know each other, have a good meal. But they also have a whole rehabilitation gym, and we have a clinic at each of the sites. We have the highest penetration rate nationwide of all PACE programs, which means the eligible population, we serve the highest amount in any of the programs, and we're very proud about that. It's a model of care that we would all want, a one-stop shop, a wraparound, a person-centered approach, where you get, as the proclamation said, transportation, in-home care, meals, a social worker, primary care, a nurse, and coordination of all of your appointments and arrangements out of the area. It's more efficient and less expensive. We reduce hospitalizations, institutional care, admittance into skilled nursing facilities. So we're really, we're very proud of our program. And we're doing it, we're celebrating in each of our sites. So we have open houses next Thursday here in Arcata from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. And then we have one in Eureka on October 2nd, and then in Fortuna on October 16th. So we look forward to hopefully seeing some of you. And again, thank you so much for your support. We could not have done it in this community without the community support. Proud to be here. And I have some.
And thank you very much for opening a facility in Arcata. Much appreciated.
We appreciate it. It was a lot of hard work, but worth it to see the participants coming in, and excited to
Thank you.
hang out.
The next item on the agenda is reports by commissions or committees, and we have none this evening. So we'll go on to number 6, which is staff reports. All reports shall be specifically limited to city business and shall not request or lead to action by the council at this meeting. A, receive an update from Equity Arcata team, Mo Harper Desir, okay. Fernando Paz and Anna Martinez regarding Equity Arcata. So, please come forward, and thank you very much for being here this evening.
Right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone and community. Thank you for the opportunity to share an update on Equity Arcata. My name is Mo Harper Desir, and I serve as co-manager alongside my colleague, who I'm joined by tonight, Fernando Paz. And tonight we're going to take you through an update on who we are, what we do, what we've been up to since our last update in January, and some upcoming ways you can get involved. And so very briefly, Equity Arcata is a formal partnership between Cal Poly Humboldt and the city of Arcata. Together, we are committed to providing a welcoming, safe, inclusive, and racially equitable community. This commitment extends to students, faculty, and staff, as well as all residents of Arcata and the surrounding communities.
Starting in 2017, since the beginning, the city manager's office has served as the lead city organization and fiscal agent. The university's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has been the lead campus partner and fiscal agent. Together, these two anchor institutions carry out the day-to-day responsibilities of
Our purpose is simple but vital, and it's to create a welcoming, safe, and racially equitable community.
Our purpose is, Equity Arcata supports the community in three key ways. First, by connecting resources to local initiatives and community projects. Second, by fostering collaboration between campus and partners. And third, by creating spaces to listen, adapt, and respond to the needs of our.
So in practice, this looks like cultural event support, equity workshops and trainings, internships and fellowships, local business connections, the sponsorship of community events, ongoing learning opportunities, and one of our programs, which is called the Home Away from Home Project.
So the internal workings of our organization. This chart shows how Equity Arcata connects Cal Poly Humboldt, the city of Arcata, and the broader community through shared leadership and collaborative planning. Input from both the campus and community flows into Equity Arcata staff and advisory committee, which guides initiatives and creates space.
Our work is guided by both dedicated staff and advisory voices. So the current Equity Arcata team includes myself, Fernando Paz as my co-manager, and we have two student workers, Nizel Liglad and Ana Martinez.
We are also supported by the advisory committee and active members across the city and university who ensure that our work stays connected to real community needs and advances the purpose of the Arcata.
So here are some of our active committee members, and you can see a great group of local community members, organizations, and different entities.
On the city side of things, Equity Arcata is focused on strengthening communication, coordination, and accountability within the city hall procedures and among staff. The CARES Working Group, which stands for Community Attention, Respect, Evaluation, and Solidarity, meets monthly. This group allows staff to identify needs and shape how the city hall becomes more open, caring.
A new step forward that we are releasing this fall is our community development grant. And through this grant, Equity Arcata will connect resources to existing partnerships and programs, both community-based and campus-based, that foster belonging. This grant will target projects and initiatives that are supported both by the community and campus with relationships that are already fostered and building. And the grant will strengthen what already works and deepen collaboration.
Competitive applications will speak to the ongoing relationship between Cal Poly Humboldt and the community, encourage exchange between the two communities, and foster positive impacts.
Some of our ongoing focuses that haven't produced events or programming yet is our goal to build belonging, create visibility, and ensure equity as a part of everyday life in Arcata and at Cal Poly Humboldt. This is not one-time work, it is continuous, and it adapts as our community grows and changes. And that looks like developing deep relationships with local police departments, both in Arcata and on campus, convening and building with Cal Poly Humboldt's cultural centers and groups, and gathering delegations for cultural exchange with Oaxaca, Mexico.
Beyond grants, our collaboration shows up in community life. Equity Arcata works hard to participate and collaborate with ongoing community and campus events. Through this engagement, Equity Arcata is present and visible where our community gathers.
And so over the summer in July, we celebrated a new space in the annex over near the transit center, featuring tours, games, refreshments, and some community engagement. We've asked the community some questions. The evening concluded with a community outing to the Humboldt Crabs game, where attendees received free tickets, and we all participated together.
On August 15th, Equity Arcata hosted vending and networking sessions to support business owners and vendors with resources, connections, and practical tools.
On August 23rd, Equity Arcata collaborated and stood in solidarity with Centro de Pueblo in a sanctuary day that included a rolling demonstration, speeches at the Arcata Farmers Market, a march from the plaza to the Jardín Sanctuario, and performances at the Sanctuary Garden.
On September 7th, the Home Away from Home potluck welcomed 135 students to the D Street Neighborhood Community Center with shared meals, household supplies, and relationship building with the wider community.
We also had the privilege of participating in a number of community gatherings, such as Spring Preview on campus, the Redwood Pride event in June, the Multicultural Festival in July, Oyster Fest, the Oban Festival, Fall Orientation, Move-In Weekend, and the Friday Night Markets. Through these outreach opportunities, we were able to connect with small businesses, new students, and members that belong to different social groups and organizations, all of which directly impacts and informs our work.
Some of our upcoming events and things to look out for. We have an exciting calendar of, we have some things coming up. On Friday, September 26th, we will be at the Friday Night Market on the Arcata Plaza. On Friday, October 3rd, we are hosting a tardeada at the D Street Community Neighborhood Center, where we'll be bringing together all the local Latino affinity organizations with the organizations for as part of Latino Heritage Month. Theodore will be happening on campus from October 20th to the 24th. Equity Arcata will be hosting the Connection Zone in hopes to foster connection and belonging amongst community members. The zone's specifics are to be announced, and you are also welcome to submit applications if you want to be worked out. On Sunday, October 26th, we will partner with Queer Humboldt and the ERC, the Area Cultural Resource Center, for the Queer Museum at the D Street Neighborhood Center. And then on Sunday, December 7th, we will gather again for the Home Away from Home potluck, also at the D Street Neighborhood.
So finally, we want to make sure you know how to stay connected. You can find more information on all the events we just spoke about. And you can follow us on social media at Equity Arcata. You can also use your phone for the code, and it will bring you to that. We also will do the same for our website, which is www.equityarcata.org. And then we also have a monthly newsletter that we send at the beginning of the month. It summarizes the events that we're supporting and hosting, as well as informs on different groups on campus, different resources on campus, different alleys available through the city and different projects going on at the city, as well as a few learning lessons with differing topics that relate to the work that Equity Arcata. So thank you so much.
For your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you. So does the council have questions they would like to ask? Well, we really appreciate your presentation this evening. Thank you for coming and look forward to all the things that you're doing. And thank you very much. So the next item on our agenda is receive a presentation from the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County regarding letter of support for all Humboldt County community members. So would you like to come forward? Thank you. Yes, right there. You can come forward, Ann. And thank you for being here with us this evening.
You're very welcome. Good evening. So I'm Ann Hartline. I'm representing today the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County. I'm on the board. I know our president was hoping to join me, but it looks like she got delayed at work, which is totally understandable. So I do have a copy of the Humboldt County Support for All Humboldt County Community Members letter, and I'll leave that with you. I'm going to summarize a little bit and then take some questions if you'd like. So over the last 10 months, a little bit over that, the boards of supervisors of numerous California counties, beginning initially with Santa Cruz and Sonoma counties, have voiced their concerns about policy changes at the federal level regarding the treatment of immigrants and immigration, as well as the treatment of all other marginalized people in their communities. They have each publicly endorsed a community support letter outlining their support for immigrants who include family members, friends, co-workers, and neighbors, and who have a legal right to live and work in the United States. They have also agreed to unequivocally defend these policies. So focusing in here, beginning in January, the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County Board, members of that board, including myself, worked to prepare a Humboldt County version of the support letter referred to above that I just mentioned. Our efforts to secure community support began with the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission. With modifications, the Human Rights Commission Board agreed unanimously to support the Humboldt County version of the letter. Next, the commission took the support letter before the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors, who made some additional modifications and then voted unanimously to support the letter as well. The board of the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County also voted in May and again in July with our new board for the 25-26 year to support the letter. Since then, League of Women Voters of Humboldt County members continue working to enlist support and garner signatures from additional community organizations and community members. We had the statement up, maybe some of you saw it, at the 4th of July festivals, both here in Arcata and in Eureka, and we'll have it up again at the North Country Fair this coming weekend. Numerous organizations and individuals have joined and supported these efforts in our community. We know that a united front is important to protecting community members, including immigrants, from further intimidation and harm. So why I am here, the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County, along with all the organizations that I mentioned, asks for your support for the community support letter that you will soon hold in front of you. Our goal is to publish the support letter and the names of all signees through local media outlets in October. And I know you will not be able to vote until early October, but that will be fine. So that's not a problem. We want our community to know that we stand up for the rights of all people in Humboldt County. And you will have this in a minute, but I just wanted to read you the very beginning of the letter and tell you a little bit about it. So the community support letter begins this way with these two paragraphs. We acknowledge the climate of concern within our community. Many residents have expressed deep apprehension about the hateful rhetoric and the growing divide currently evidenced across our nation, concerns that we fully share. We seek to assure our community that we will continue to stand firmly in support of our family members, friends, coworkers, and neighbors, no matter where they are from, what language they speak, who they love, how they worship, or how they vote. As local government and community leaders, we specifically and unequivocally reaffirm our commitment to supporting all residents in our community. And then the letter goes on, which I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it goes on to list the legal and policy protections already in place at the state and local levels, including Humboldt County's Sanctuary Ordinance, Measure K, the California Values Act, SB 54, the Truth Act, AB 2792, the Trust Act, AB 4, and the California Education Code. Whatever the future holds, we are resilient and ready to meet any challenges presented to our community. And the letter ends this way. We, the undersigned agencies and elected officials within Humboldt County, remain committed to ensuring that our county is a place where all individuals are valued for their unique contributions and where every resident can live without fear. So.
Thank you very much. So are there any comments or questions from the council? Well, we look forward to having your letter and proceeding as.
I will say one thing too. If perchance the letter is not endorsed by the entire council, we would still welcome individual council members joining us on the letter as well.
Thank you very much for that.
Can I ask a quick question?
You bet.
Is it open to all community members and organizations, and how would
Yes,
they find it?
please. Yes, please. One of the challenges, as you can imagine, is, I mean, I'd like to get to every city council and every school board, and it's a big task. So yes, we would embrace having other people sign on. We've got, as I said, the Board of Soups, League of Women Voters Board, Human Rights Commission. We have over 50 additional local residents and some church groups and the Micmac in McKinleyville. So absolutely, we would welcome.
Could you direct people where they could find the letter?
Sure, I think it is on our website, our league website. I'll make sure that I get it up there if it is not. It was in our league. We have a publication, our voter, which I know is on the website, and it's in that, but that's maybe a little bit more embedded. I'm also more than welcome to have people reach out to me, or you can also reach out to the League of Women Voters and email us. So yes, we welcome all community members who'd like to sign on. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you very much, Anne. We appreciate you coming this
You bet.
evening.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go on to C, which is other staff reports.
I don't have any report.
Okay. We have oral and written communications. It's early. Communications. The city values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. This early section of public comment is limited to 15 minutes, and speakers are limited to 2 minutes. If you prefer to have a full 3 minutes of your time for public comment, this item is continued at the end of the meeting under item 12, where speakers are granted 3 minutes. Please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. There is also will be time to provide public comments specific to each item on the agenda. So at this time, if you would come forward, please, you're number one. This gentleman behind you is number one. Can he come number one? That's the second number one. Oh, just go ahead. We'll have number one and number one. Thank you.
My name is Sean, and I've lived in Humboldt County in Arcata since 1989, and I'm a bicycle rider. I've never driven a car, and lately I've been riding a electric bike, and electric bikes are heavier and have wider tires, and I've gotten about 7 flats in the last 6 months. And so the first time I got a flat was a big steel rod. Second time was
Okay, we're live again. If you would like to start your comments, please.
Thank you. My name is Abraham, and I live in Arcata. I've addressed you a few times asking you not to act against the Jews or their nation, and I feel like my voice hasn't been heard. Upon self-reflection, I realized that I've allowed myself to get swept away in a fight against Jew haters instead of focusing on what Israel has been fighting for all this time, the hostages. When it comes to innocent women, children, and elderly, including Holocaust survivors, by the way, taken by Hamas, we really are looking at a cause that transcends political divides. No one, regardless of their perspective on the broader conflict, wants to see the hostages' suffering continue. The Jew haters have been given what they asked for, part of it, and it's our turn to ask you to look into the blind spot created by their division and hate mongering and see the true casualties of this war. So we are asking you to pass a resolution calling for the immediate and unconditional release of all the hostages in Gaza. Our representatives in Washington, Sacramento, and the UN need to know that we care about them too. Hamas constantly reminds us that the clock is ticking. Look at the clock there, folks. The hostages don't have much longer to live. I've sent you a draft of the resolution and would be happy to work with you on wording or whatever else is needed so that it can hopefully be put on the agenda and adopted without delay. If you're looking for common ground, this is where you will find it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please come forward. Thank you. It's hard for me to know who's who, but okay. First the ones are green and then we go to yellow. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat Hansler. I'm a nurse. I want to speak about what's going on in Palestine. And the UN right now will be voting tomorrow. They've already decided that it is a genocide, and they're voting tomorrow whether they should bypass the Security Council and just send peacekeepers to Gaza and humanitarian aid. I want to say that our government is using a foreign entity to make decisions in this country, which is actually very traitorous. So we can't depend on our leadership at all. And I also want to say that there are 1,000 Jews in Geneva, in Jewish Voices for Peace, and I'm one of them. And those 1,000 voices are actually asking for an embargo on weapons to Israel and a sanctioning of Israel because they are imperialistic, they have nuclear weapons, and they haven't signed on to anything. So they are a danger to this entire world. And the reason why I'm saying all this is because we need to bypass our country and have a sister city with Gaza so we can give them humanitarian aid that they need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
have a
much.
sister city.
Our next speaker, please.
My name is Jody, and I am here to urge you to act immediately to adopt and approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Arcata calling for the immediate release of all hostages by Hamas. I would like to remind you how the current war between Israel and Gaza started. On October 7, 2023, Hamas terrorists invaded Israel, genocided over 1,200 civilians, and injured several thousand more before the IDF was able to subdue them. This first photo is from the forensic evidence from that attack. It is the burnt remains of a mother and child who were bound together with metal wire and burnt alive. It took a CT scan of the remains to identify who these people were. Hamas carried GoPro cameras to record their atrocities and live streamed them to the world. This is just one example of many war crimes committed on that day by Hamas. They also took 251 hostages, of which 48 hostages still remain in Gaza, including 2 Americans. These next 2 photos are of hostages kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival, very much like Reggae on the River. We all know that the war will not end until all the hostages are returned. Monday, you passed a resolution in support of humanitarian aid for Gazans. Are you willing to treat the lives of innocent Israeli hostages equally? Hamas has stated they're going to move the hostages above ground and use them as human shields. Now is your opportunity to show the citizens here in Arcata that you value all people. Please take this opportunity to pass a simple resolution to show your humanity and support for Arcata Jewish citizens. We are waiting for you to show us that you support our suffering too.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please. Good evening.
My name is Ella. I don't have anything written tonight. I am just here to support the resolution to release all remaining hostages from Gaza, where they are starving them and torturing them to death, sending pictures of their starving bodies to torture their parents. If we could just release the hostages, the war would be over. I am here to strongly agree that we should pass that resolution. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please.
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and I'll do three things if I can in 2 minutes. First of all, I go to the County Board of Supervisors meetings on occasion, more often now than in the past. The clerk of the board of the County Board of Supervisors at public comment time at the last Board of Supervisors meeting let people know, and the supervisors know, that there are 5 vacancies on the Human Rights Commission currently for the County Human Rights Commission. I got a copy of the application, and I can make copies for anyone watching or in the room now if they're interested in being on the Human Rights Commission. We have a lot of committees and commissions in our community that need dedicated, caring people to be a part of them. So here's one of them, human rights, what we're talking about right now. So that's that. Second thing I want to talk about is it's really worth looking back. This has become attached to me, this resolution for a ceasefire that we declared as a city unanimously on March 6th of 2024. And I really do think that it had a lot of important things in it, including release of the hostages and other political captive prisoners in Israel. So it wasn't one-sided. And it also talked about humanitarian aid. So I'd like to get specific about humanitarian aid. There's a global Samud flotilla. Greta Thunberg's on board. Over 44 countries, many, many boats, dozens of boats heading to Gaza legally on international waters. May they get there and be able to provide aid. Finally, I'd just like to ask the council to revisit some of the protocols and procedures for the meetings, because 3 minutes used to be at the end of the meeting and it hasn't been lately.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Well, we don't have Zoom, so we're concluding our early communications now.
You have a card.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were.
Good
Thank you.
evening. My name is Mike Edwards. I've been a resident of Arcata for over 30 years, and I've spent the last 28 years up on I Street next to Todd Court. Recently, Cal Poly Humboldt has opened their new dorms with 500 new students attending there. Unfortunately, they've not opened an adequate number of parking spaces, and as a consequence, our streets are filled with cars, to the point where I have collected signatures from residents within the neighborhood and filed paperwork for the creation of a preferential residential parking zone. I had the pleasure yesterday of attending the Transportation Safety Committee meeting and giving them a copy of all of the signatures that we had. The original signatures were forwarded to the police department as is required. The preferential parking zone, I believe, is necessary, especially with the recent realignment of zoning within that area of Arcata, moving from low-density residential to high-density residential, which means the remaining undeveloped land within that area will need additional residential parking. Unfortunately, that residential parking will be needed by the residents of the neighborhood and not the students of the dorms. We would like to get a new residential zone established as soon as possible, and especially before the additional dorm opens in January. Thank you for your time. and
Thank you very
for
much
your
for-
consideration in this matter. I hope to see it as an agenda item soon.
Well, thank you very much for bringing that forward. That is, I know that is an issue, and I know the city is looking into that. And also the university is looking into locating additional house parking elsewhere, but not there. So we'll see how all that plays out. But thank you for coming tonight and going to the traffic committee or transportation committee. So we'll move on if there is no one else here for oral communications. Thank you. We'll go on to the consent calendar. Approval to waive reading of the text and consent to read by the title only of any ordinance on this agenda. Approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting of September 3, 2025. Approve the minutes of the City Council meeting of September 3, 2025. By reports on disbursements, bi-weekly, monthly disbursement reports. Number E, adopt resolution number 256-10, adopting permanent local housing allocation owner occupied rehabilitation program guidelines. California Environmental Equality Act, CEQA, exempt per the common sense exemption. F, award a contract amendment in the amount of $327,000 and $870 to GHD Inc. for an additional engineering and design services for US 101 Sunset Avenue Interchange Improvement Project, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. G, reappoint Jim Zolik to the Energy Committee for a 3-year term ending September 30th, 2028. H, reappoint Jill McDonald and Jeanette Cooper to Historic Landmarks Committee, each for a term expiring September 20th, 2028. I approve a contract amendment with GHD Inc. for professional services to support the construction phase of the Annie and Mary Trail project in the amount of $86,681.60, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Okay. And K. Okay. J, approve sponsor, oh, now you probably can hear me. Thank you. Approve sponsorship in the amount equivalent to the Plaza event fees of $1,981 for the Same Old People's North Country Fair to be held on the Arcata Plaza September 20th and 21st, 2025. K, adopt resolution number 256-11, establishing the Community Benefits Program, action not subject to additional CEQA Environmental Quality Act review. Are there any items on the agenda anyone would like to withdraw?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay. And so is there any public comment on the consent calendar?
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and again, when money's involved on a consent calendar, I'm just interested in clarification sometimes. And so this GHD contract, it's additional $86,000 plus dollars compared to the existing monies that were already allocated of $95,000. And I do realize that on big, huge projects like this, additional funds are sometimes required. But I just wanted to be clear that we're talking about, there was an initial $95,000 allocated for this project, and now they're asking for another contract of $86,000. And is that my correct reading of this? Mike. Your mic's not on.
I'm sorry.
What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
That's exactly what it says in this document.
Okay, I'll hear it on the replay.
Well, you asked for the amount in the document, and that's what it says. So would you like to speak on the consent calendar, please?
Hi, I am Alex Ozaki McNeil. I am the director of the North Country Fair, and just wanted to say thank you for adding it to the consent calendar for today and the events coming up this weekend. And on behalf of my board, the Same Old People, we typically break even and make enough money to plan the fair again the next year. So the assistance is really appreciated, and all of the staff work that goes towards the traffic control plan and processing business licenses and the permit is really appreciated. We really like having this event in the city of Arcata. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, can we have a vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. There's no old business. So now we'll go on to number 11, which is new business. Hold a public hearing to consider and adopt resolution number 256-05, confirming city costs incurring from abatement nuisance conditions at 2579 Baldwin Street and approving collection of costs at a special assessment. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. As you mentioned, the city is staff is recommending that you hold a public hearing to consider and adopt resolution number 256-05, confirming $10,686.44 in city costs incurred to abate nuisance conditions at 2579 Baldwin Street, to authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Quick little slideshow. I'll go through it really quick. Please let me know if you want me to go back. Going back, I mean, the complaints go back even further. This is just the oldest photo I found. Shows that conditions are not bad, even though there was complaint. And then it progresses late 2023, 4 and into 5. In early 25, city manager asked us to look into the process and do an abatement. So we spoke to police and legal and got the abatement warrants, hired New Life Services to haul away a lot of material and clean it up. And that's the amount per city, and we'd like to collect. And this is what it looked like on March 24th after New Life Services was. Any questions?
Are there any questions from council?
I just wanted to clarify, this is complaint driven, and this is one of many that we do throughout the city.
Yeah, this is an abatement. We don't do a significant number of abatements. We do a lot of code enforcement, a lot of letters. Abatement is a higher level of hopefully we wouldn't have to do more than 1 or 2 a year.
So when I was on a ride along with the policeman, and that was one of the areas we went and checked, and that was probably almost 3 years ago. And then when I was walking door to door in that neighborhood, I was talking to a resident, and he was moving because of the condition and that it was impossible to deal with it. And so I'm glad that we've finally been able to figure out what to do. So I know there's more to the story, and that you're only giving us part of the story, and part of the story I remember the resident telling me about. So I think it's really imperative that we do this and make it work for the neighborhood as a whole, because they do suffer. So with that, what kind of action would you appreciate? I will, but I'm going to see what kind of action you want us to take. We'll take a motion on this. But we'll have to take public comment. Yes. Would anyone like to speak on this item?
It would be appropriate, I think, if we open the.
Okay, well, I'll open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? I don't see anyone getting up. I'm going to close the public hearing.
Great, and I will make a motion to adopt resolution number 256-05, confirming $10,686.44 in city costs incurred to abate nuisance conditions at 2579 Baldwin Street, Arcata, and collect the said costs via special assessment and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Thank you. So we'll go on to item B,
I'm sorry,
which is
can I interrupt real quick? Councilman, Vice Mayor White, I just didn't hear your vote.
Aye.
Thank you.
We'll go on to item B, award a contract in the amount of $500,000 to Smith Group, Inc. for the professional services for planning, community outreach, and preliminary concept design for Reconnect Arcata project. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the public, and some staff here. So, the item in front of you today is award a contract to Smith Group for the planning for the Reconnect Arcata project. We do have some slides for you, and we'll go through that. And before I do that, use Senior Project Manager Laura. She's on this. She'll be spearheading this project forward, so she will be doing some slides. I will just go over maybe some background on the reconnecting communities Highway to Boulevard. Go on slides, but in 2020, we got very fortunate and we were selected one of the 20 cities in the California in partnership with Cal Poly Humboldt, Caltrans, and HTA working together. They invited us to submit an application to be selected for this project. And out of the 20 cities, we were one of the cities that at the end, in early 2024, they selected 3 cities, one city being in San Diego, second city being South San Francisco, and the third city. We were selected, and we were selected to do a project in the amount of $140 million, which will be equally divided among 3 cities and to the Reconnecting Communities project. However, due to budget shortfall, they were not able to commit on that, so it got pushed by 6. So they will be dividing that project exactly in half, and it will be $75 million, and awarding each city $25 million project. And we were still happy. As of early 2025, it was in the state budget, and everything was good. We were happy. Forward, we had prepared our RFP, RFQ to get the consultants on board to start the planning project. Community was excited, we were excited that we wanted to do the work. However, as we're doing the project, still in our budget, the way that our budget is approved is for the planning work of $3 million. We plan to do planning work for $3 million, which includes full public engagement planning for the throughout the city where we have highways. So it was a big task for $3 million. However, in May, we learned that fire in LA, and that they have to get funds and they want to. However, we have already done the RFQs and the community was excited. We wanted to move forward. Hence, we, as an internal team, decided maybe we should use internal city funds to do maybe initial work. Any project we do in the city in the last, I would say, 20 years, 10 years, we always had a match. An example of Foster Avenue. City General Fund had put some match for the that time $3 million project. There was a city match of $200. Animated Trail, Sunset Avenue Interchange, Old Arcata Road. Any capital project that we do needs. We could treat this as a match fund towards the big project that will happen in future. Not a lot, but for a small city, 500,000 is a lot. Sorry. So $500,000 is a lot of money for a small city. You okay? Okay. So sorry. We have done a lot of match for capital projects. So this could be as a match fund. Once we start the project, this will put us in a better position for future. I know maybe right now there's not a lot of excitement about federal grants, but we believe it will change. And in future, if we do this planning work right now, it will take at least 12 to 18 months to start and end this planning phase, pre-planning phase, I call it. So in that, instead of waiting, we should do some progress. So it will put our city in a better position to get those state and federal grants in future. And that could be in the amount of maybe $10 million, could be 25 million. We don't have the numbers yet, but this project has a bigger dream. You know, initially when it was selected, it was $150 million. So we have big dreams for City of Arcata, which is divided by the highway. So we can do big improvements, and there will be grants in future. So if we need to just make some progress in this. So with that, I will go maybe few slides. Or even
Good evening. Thanks, Netra, for the introduction and background on the project. So, this slide is a little bit a photo that I wanted to share. It shows the center of Arcata. Obviously, it's a map from about the 1900s, and I find it interesting that on the far right side, where there's like an orange, light orange highlight, that's E Street that had a railroad going through that. And in about 1950s or so, an expressway was built there to alleviate the traffic that was on G and H Street coming through the center of town. And then, as we all know, in the 70s, the expressway was upgraded to a full freeway, connecting 299, 101, and 255 around the bay, and that's how it exists today. As a result of this development of freeways for the vehicles, a lot of housing that can be seen, on the grid there on the bottom of this picture from 1948, before the expressway went in, was eliminated. And as a result, the neighborhoods on either side of the highway have been impacted, have been bifurcated by the highway, and the project that we have been working on, known as the Reconnecting Arcata project, aims to address those historic harms, or the historic impact, specifically in the Valley West area, Central Arcata, and in the Gateway area. And these are some historic, I think, brainstorms and sketches that have been developed prior to me becoming involved in the project. But I know Netra, maybe you can speak to these because I'm not as familiar as you.
yes, so when I mentioned earlier that we were selected by the state to present a grant application, this was one of the concepts that we presented. The goal was, let me go a little bit back. Caltrans, our state, they have realized that in 60s and 70s, in the name of a highway, we have built a lot of highways. However, in the process of building highways, we have taken a lot of property which could happen potentially for housing, park, or any recreational area that has been taken by the highway. So one of the ultimate goal of this program is to reconnect that back and provide that housing and a community space that was taken by highway to connect it back. So when we submitted the grant application, one of the options that was presented was to definitely having a lot of crossing over the highways, but one of the options was, we call it a cap, that will cover the portion of US 101 between 14th and 17th Street. That will give you an approximately area of 5 acres that could be used for community space, potentially, could be recreational space, could be housing, apartments, and anything along those lines. So these are the concepts that we presented, and that's how we were selected. So this is how it looks like. Close up look off when we cover the 14th to 17th, fully connected. People do not have to go through highway. There will be 5 acres of area connecting East and West Arcata ways. So with that, we'll take some questions. Definitely, it's a lot of ask from the city team to you, asking to use general fund to do the transportation project. However, this could be for the future economic development. In some ways, we see this as a bigger economic development that will happen in the city in future. Or this is not like a one-year project. This is like a long-term, I call it 10 to 20-year project, and we are starting it today. And we got to start it sooner than state wants us to start. If we have questions, we'll go. But also, I wanted to share this one. This is a 3D image, was constructed as a model by one of the local architects when he was going to school of architect in early 1990s. Here, this is US 101, Cal Poly Humboldt here, that crossing that goes on 101. He used the wood blocks to create the city that was divided by 101. And as a part of his senior project, the vision was to add more bridges to increase connectivity and use the right-of-way area, which is a dead space, for housing or community living. So this is nothing new we are talking about. This has been talked about for more than 20 years. We're just trying to implement that in some way. Yeah, it was a physical woodworks. I would even name that person Jake Johnson. He works for the county right now, and his dad was our fantastic woodworker, worked for the city for more than 30 years. Every single piece of wood you see, he has
It's all his.
Could you orient me just on the far right, the first wooden block?
I would say this is like a 7th Street.
Okay, thank you.
11th, 14th, not perfectly to scale, but this is a senior project done in his garage. And he had this model until maybe a few years ago. Then he had to do painting. He could not find it, or it was destroyed. But at least he had the image, so shared that with us. Thank you.
He's currently an architect for the county.
Yes. Now we'll take any questions if we have.
All right, sorry. I have to admit, I'm a little conflicted by this. I mean, here when we got that word, I down and accept it, and it's a speech, and it's really, really exciting. But super skeptical that we're going to fund choices in our budget. And I also understand how less and how, I mean, I don't think there's any argument that this is like a really awesome thing. I'm skeptical that we're going to get any money back, and I'm just really afraid to spend a large amount of money in a year when we're having budget woes.
So what?
Can I ask a question based off of that? Because it looks like Netra was about to kind of respond to that too. But like, I mean, what if we spend this money out of the general fund? Is there a way that these could be recouped if the grant does come through? I mean, what does that look like if this funding is, fully secured? And then just remind me too, because I know some of it's like state funded, some of it's federally funded. How is that kind of broken up, and what's in jeopardy?
I can see being a little bit skeptic on this one, and it's a lot of money. I get it. I'm very optimistic that money may come in different ways, in small chunks. Since we've been working closely with our local senators, our state representative in so many ways in the last 6 months, and we have sent a letter to keep the money in the budget. They just passed the budget. We are not sure if they have included, but we are pushing them in the best way we can, writing letters and telling them to keep the money. So it may not happen this budget, but it will happen maybe mid-year or next year. I think I'm hopeful because this is a great project. Caltrans team has put the pilot project together, so they are optimistic. So that's the reason I'm optimistic, because the people who have put this project together, they think they can do this project. It may not happen today, but it will happen in the next 1 or 2 years. To answer your question, Councilmember Schaefer, is it will be hard to recoup the funds. That's what the reason I said it's a match fund, and we are spending our match fund, and we can tell every single grant when we apply that we city use this as a match fund towards the project. It's hard. Right now that we are planning is all state fund through the state, but doing this planning process, it will help us to get federal funds once we do that. If I say that today, it doesn't sound right, but 2 years ago, for similar project through federal Reconnecting Communities grant, federal grant was awarded in the amount of $500 million to the Portland to build a cap which covers the highway to connect the communities. So I'm still optimistic. Right now in the federal, it's not exciting. There's not a lot of money there, but it will change. The government changes every 2-4 years, so I'm hopeful it will change in some ways, and there will be some money flowing. Now economic going down, but today the interest went down, so will help in some ways. So
So,
cannot promise anything. I'm just
Mhm.
like saying like I think we should, as a match fund, we should at least move forward in some ways.
so,
nothing.
so when Nietzsche told me that we were going to be cut out of the budget at that time, I got in touch with the city manager for the city of South San Francisco, and we also got in touch with the people for the southern part of San Diego that were part of it, so that we could start working collaborative around trying to get the funding. And so we've changed some of the funding sources. We've asked for less as time goes by. Should we take a break?
Because I want to ask Tabitha a question, so don't leave.
So we've changed some of the requests, and we've been working with the legislature, our senator and our congressman, to see if there's a possibility of getting less money and getting some money possibly. I don't know how that'll play out in the budget, because the money right now for the budget is going all towards fire, and that's the number one thing that the governor wants to do is fire. But I think that we have an advantage because we have 3 different districts, 3 different representatives in California, because we're in different areas and they're working with their legislators. So I don't know how it'll play out. I can understand the concerns, but it is sort of an exciting thing if we have it possibility for the future. It may not be in my lifetime, but it might be in other people's lifetimes that they'll be able to
Alex, we
have
will
this
live
actually
forever,
happen.
Tabitha, where is this going to come from? What are we going to have to cut to make this? Is it going to have to out of? I mean,
At this point, it's coming out of your general fund reserves. So it's going to come out of that money that when we talk about potentially buying land or project, doing up capital, it's that money that you've saved over the years in the general fund that's set aside for potentially special projects, big projects, and high priorities of the city council. So that's really what you have to decide, because if we spend this $500,000 today, this project may come forward, get grant money, it may be an amazing project, or we could spend it and not necessarily get it, or it takes years for that to come around on some level. So it's an investment that you would be making, but it does mean that money is not, because it's one-time money, that money isn't available for something else in the future. So it's really looking at your priorities and making that decision. And what I would also, if the council has, as a whole, has questions or wants to dwell on this a little bit, I think it would be okay to say that we could table this and you could come back and make a decision at a future meeting, or you can make a decision tonight one way or the other.
Well, and I mean, the other thing I'm thinking, we just have we have the Annie and Mary Trail, we also have SAMSIP, we have 2 other big connecting projects going on right now as well.
Well, can I ask off
So-
that? Because if we do table this for now, will we know more information about the state budget if we say, hold off on this for 3 months, 6 months? What is that a realistic timeline to think about, that we might know more soon and then feel more comfortable making this decision?
I know we've been pushing this for a while, so I would say in 3 months we can know more. There's no guarantee that we will get or not. Maybe I'll just add one more thing. I said, Annie Mary Trail is a great project, fully funded. Trying to use least of general fund. We are in our budget. We have only planned for 50,000, and we are hoping not to use that. Sunset and LK Wood project, $20 million project. 15 million through grants, 2.5 through partnership through Cal Poly, 1.5 through Caltrans. City funds maybe $500,000. So I think we have to invest some ways, match fund in a bigger scale project. We have to show some commitment to get the money. So this is our commitment, showing that we are willing to pay $500,000. Please pay us whatever that number is, 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. So we have to show that. And we've been great in the last 10 years because of the Measure G, because of the street funds. We have showed any material project of the Sunset LK, even SAMSIP. Every single project we spend, we submit a grant application, we show the match funds through Measure G.
So before we table this, can I have an opportunity to speak? As pointed out, the SAMHSA, which is focusing on southern part of Arcata, and here's my concern, is if we don't invest in this, this might be the only opportunity to connect Valley West, which is desperately needed. And I realize that it's something that is coming out of our general fund, but I feel like it is an investment, and that if we are preparing this, then when that money comes, there's less of an argument to be made that we've already moved forward. We've already put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. I feel like we should move forward on this. As pointed out, the SAMSIP is connecting South Arcata. We don't have anything right now on the burner, back burner, or otherwise that's going to help. And it says boulevard. Well, connecting highways to boulevards is 101 Valley West Boulevard. It just feels sometimes that North Arcata just falls between the cracks, and here's an opportunity that we can grab it. And I also I was reticent at first because I had heard apparently misinformation that we were not going to include Valley West in this. So I'm really thrilled to hear that we're doing this. I did read through the proposal, and I love the idea that they're going to be bringing in the community, that they were talking about bringing in Spanish-speaking translation as well as headsets if needed, with the majority of the Spanish speakers that live in Arcata are actually out in North Arcata Valley West. So I would love to invest in this. I think it's worthwhile. And finally, we will have an opportunity for Valley West residents.
So one of the things I've been thinking about is that when we went down to get the money, and Connie Stewart was on one of the boards that approved it, she said that the two other cities had done a lot of work, community work, and that we had not done a lot of community work. And that this is part of getting our community work done that we need to do. And so I think that we have to look at it that it's a future plan, and I think that through this we'll be able to be better situated, and not. And another reason we got it is we're a rural area, so they were looking at rural areas, urban areas, and sort of the town down in San Diego is in between. So I think that we're one of the three that they chose looking at that. And I think it would be good for us to be able to see what we can do about moving forward on this, because we could prove that rural areas can actually do what urban areas can do. And we could get that work that we haven't done out of the way and moving. I know every time you pick up the paper and you read anything or on news, you see that we're a sanctuary state. We're a sanctuary city, and everyone that is a sanctuary anything is not getting funded by the government, and that they're pulling all these funds away. Eventually, I don't know what will happen in the next 5 to 10 years, but we'll be in a place possibly to do this, because it won't be something that goes on the shelf and just stays there. Anyway, that's my feeling about it.
And I do understand that we need to be forward thinking, but we also need to be forward thinking about our budget. I mean, I just feel like I have to be a little bit pragmatic here and like take a step back. And I think we've been, pretty generous with our reserves and things that we're excited about and things we want to do. But like right now, I just want to pump the brakes for a second and maybe have some conversations with Tabitha and kind of see where we stand and what this is going to mean for our reserves long term. Not that I'm not super excited about this project because it's amazing, but I don't want to put the city in.
So would you feel comfortable tabling it for
I
2
would, yeah.
2
If we're
months?
going to vote right now, I wouldn't vote for it, but if we want to push it back.
And see how what the governor does with all the bills that are on his desk, etc.
Well, I think based on the email that I got today, they have signed the bill. We're just trying to figure out what's in that bill. Is our program in that signed bill or not? Here's maybe if We want to feel 100% confident, and we want everybody to vote yes. So let's maybe wait. We can bring this item maybe in 2 weeks or 4 weeks when the time is right. We have put a lot of grant applications, maybe hearing in or two, but at the same time, more we delay, we are behind on the project. They want work. Mayor mentioned like they want city to put some community initial investment in some ways. We have to show that commitment to get funding in future.
I am definitely excited about this project, and I think we've also already put a lot of staff time into trying to bring, this to the point that it's at. And I definitely, kind of hear a lot of what Alex was saying and what Netra was saying about putting that kind of good faith forward. However, I do, kind of like the idea of maybe tabling it just because things are so constantly changing right now in what's happening with the state budget. It might be nice to have a little bit more information on that just to kind of empower that decision as well. And also, I know we got to get business done when we're not all here, but this is like one of those things I'm like, God, I wonder what Stacy thinks about that. Because again, just her being our HCOG person and was so, kind of involved in the transportation aspect of this and a lot of that. So, I would be, happy to hold off right now, but I do think that this is something that we should pursue moving forward with because we've already put a tremendous amount of staff time into it. And I think that partnership that we have too with Cal Poly and with Caltrans is something that's really special, and can really, kind of push and advance this project forward in a way that's going to be positive for the city. It's going to have, that kind of economic development investment, long term in the city to provide an opportunity to be able to create, more amenities, better, transit hubs, more housing, these kind of things that we talk about all the time. And, that is 10, 20, 30, years down the line, but it is, then this amount, $500,000 for right now is a drop in the bucket compared to, that long-term planning. So.
Well, I just want to suggest another idea. What happens, we want to have good faith during this period of time while we're waiting. So I'm wondering if we could appropriate a smaller amount of money and have the additional plan in 2 weeks or a month or something to appropriate additional. So when we're dealing with the legislature and our legislators, they will realize that the council has said, yes, we want to put this forward, and we're saying, yes, we're going to put $250,000 forward, let's say, and they can see that we're committed instead of saying, oh, let's wait a couple of weeks and see what they're going to do. And from our, we can always rescind this. If we can make this decision, and if it doesn't, whatever, I would say that in 2 weeks or a month, we can say, well, nope, we've changed our mind.
Yeah, all I want really is a couple weeks to meet with our finance director and wrap my head around thing. I mean, and also, Sarah, that was a really good point. I would really love to just say, I mean, if weeks, that's reasonable without, I don't want, I mean, if we're going to do it, I'd rather do it full bore and go with $500,000 instead of a half, thing. So, can we wait 2 weeks?
I concur at 500 or go home, or 5,000, sorry. I would like to hear state or council member at Consalsa weigh in too. That is important.
Well, and I feel like kind of, a 2 and 2 right now, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So we need that fifth vote.
No, I would say we want 5. I think this is a project that will be in the community for so long that will be good to get 5 rather than get 3-2 or 4-1 or something along those lines. So I think we are shooting for 5. So how about we bring this back? We will have a close conversations, with the finance director and city manager and the city team, trying to figure out the best way. We have some options we can bring forth to you and see how we can maybe scale back or bring some version of that maybe we all can agree on. So let's work on that, and we'll bring this item back in 2 weeks.
Okay, so I was going to say, well, it'll be 3, I think it's 3 weeks, but for our next meeting in October, our first meeting in October,
yes.
that we'll bring this back. It'll be an agenda item.
It will be.
Are you agreeable, everyone? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And
Yeah,
there we go. So I can open a public hearing on this. Would anyone like to speak on this item?
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and I found this a fascinating visionary dream concept when I first heard about it a few months ago. And some things came to mind. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of money. But I also, so practically, I think about how long it's taken for the Indianola cutoff overpass and all to happen, and the disruption and some of the danger it has presented in current time with trying to prevent danger and improve safety in the long run. So projects like this, especially that involve Caltrans and a major thoroughfare, are really something to consider its impact on communities. So that's one thing. The other thing is climate action. We haven't yet dealt with the regional climate action plan, and I think that will be an important part of what we look at as to what our vision is for how we move and live and adapt in our community to what's to come, the expectations for climate change. So that needs to really be taken into consideration. And the third thing is the equity issue. Oftentimes when I think about adding land back and connectivity to the community, I went and attended a few years ago, maybe it was just 3 years ago, a land back presentation on campus by the Native American department. And they are very, very, very vocal about the concept of land back. And maybe this, I hope, is being discussed with the WIAT and others in that sense, because if we are going to design things in kind of an urban way, then maybe we need to honor what people before Arcata did with the land. So, and also appreciate what Councilmember White had to say about connectivity existing already. What are we going to do for North Arcata? You know, because it truly is, I keep intending to ride my e-bike out there, and I don't have enough juice on my bike. I haven't charged it enough to make it to and back from there on occasion. So we need to improve the connectivity of what's existing already before we even talk about, you know, putting a roof over the freeway.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I just want to add, you know, in the 1970s, when the freeway went through, we lost about 200 living units. And people have always said to me, well, why doesn't Arcata have more housing? And it's very difficult to make up for a loss of 200 units at that time and to figure out how to get those built fast enough to change that. And so I just look at this as a possibility that we'll be able to have more land to build on as we grow and the community becomes needing that kind of land. So at this point, I say we're going to table this until our next regular scheduled meeting. Do we need a vote on that, or?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we'll
Well,
just
thank you.
place it on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you okay? Okay, just checking. Checking. All right, so with that, we're going to go on to C, receive and approve an update on the fiscal year 2025-2026 Capital Improvement Program, CIP. A presentation, please. Thank you.
Good evening again. So, as you know, we've been working on our CIP project for a long time. We planned CIP only for a year. 2 years ago, we 5 years. Develop our second draft of 5-year CIP. We used to do, as we do our budget annual basis, we our capital project. We still do our approval of the budget amount for annual basis, but we are planning to looking into future what all things we need. So I think that CIP is a tool that helps us to financially plan the project for the future. So that's the idea. This is our guiding document. So one request I'm going to make today, is there are some typos and some misinformation in our capital document. So what I would request is please receive the presentation today. I'll give you the update on the projects and the CIP projects. However, table this, or I will bring this as a consent item in 2 weeks with corrected documents, then you can approve it. So this is just review, not approve the CIP document today because.
Okay, thank you, because I found some errors and I
thank
pointed them out, so
Thank you.
we
So-
need to correct those.
So thank you very much.
No, not those kind of, not those. No, it
I
was,
hope
it
we
was
can
other
get my
funding
name
sources, et
spelled
cetera.
correctly this time too. Would be
Yeah,
great.
we used our old templates from our prior draft, and we forgot to change some of the items. So that's error on our part, and we will rectify that before we bring it back to you. So with that, our CIP highlights. This is the best picture of the year. This is the kudos to our street crew, city staff who work for the city of Arcata. And every presentation I do this year, I'm going to have this picture on my slide. So this is at Bayview Street, next to the Little Pickle Hill, next to Pickle Hill Road, which has not been paved since it was constructed. It's been on the books for a long time. Finally, this summer got paved. People were so excited. One of the person came out excited, giving shot of gin with shot glasses to our staff. And our staff were very excited, and they're like, ask my supervisor, if I can have that? And supervisor said, no. But this is like an amazing picture, like how people work and how people get excited. Now, we always get complaints from people, not always, like sometimes we do get complaints, but how people are sometimes appreciative of what we do, and they are going beyond in their freezer to dig a bottle of gin and shot glasses for our city staff. So it's kudos to our street crew and the city team, led by Scott Lackey. Okay, so that's that fun part. CIP, as I said, this is our guiding document for all our projects. As you can see, for this year, we have planned for $64 million approximately project. And you can see, out of that $64 million project, 73% is through grants and external sources. We are using minimum possible of our general fund in this capital project. And we try to do other projects through our enterprise fund, water and wastewater. And remainder is through grants. So, our team is amazing at getting the grants, and we are always be doing that because it's hard to do the project with only general fund or money that we get from states. This is just another slide that shows the distribution, like most of the money is spent on the street this year. Bigger number, $25 million is from Sunset LK Wood, because that's a $20 million project or $18 million project, so that looks as high. Wastewater project still in progress, and we're planning for future. Same thing, water supply, you approved the project a few months ago, and now it's in construction. In the Parks and Forest project, that's an Annie and Mary Trail project, so that's like a higher number. And land and facilities are our community center project that we are working on. So I'll just go through some completed projects, then on design project, and then the planning projects. So in our CIP that we are actively working on. Old Arcata Road completed, done. Arcata Library completed, done. Redwood Park Phase 1 completed, done. Ballpark done. It looks great. Beautiful. People enjoy the craps game. That's great. So kudos to the contractors and the city team. These are the projects. They are under construction. Plunkett Water Line project, right in the Jacoby Creek district. I would say this project is currently 80% complete, and we are on schedule to complete this project by end of November, and we'll be done with the Plunkett improvement project. Citywide steel water line replacement project just started. We are doing good. We are, I would say, just under 10% done, and we're hoping to be done by end of next year, 2026. This will be a continuous project for a long time. And we are planning for our phase 2 of steel line water line project in our CIP. Under construction, very happy to say that we are 93% complete, right, Laura? Laura is leading that project, wastewater project. She gave an amazing presentation maybe a few months ago at the council meeting. So we are on schedule, not schedule, I would say we are a bit behind, a few months, but it's a good track. 93% is a big achievement for the project. We've been working on that project for the last 4 years. And any material project, we talked earlier a little bit about that, in the books for a long time, approximately $7 million project, all by grants and partnership through our local partners. I'm going to start next week. And the trail between Sunset and the housing project will be completed before December of this year. That's in the contract it's November, but I'm saying December because of the rain and all, it may get pushed, but hope is before January 1st that trail will be in place. As I said earlier, we are doing a roof project for our community center, solar and new roof, Little Lake improvements. We are mitigating that site, removing some hazardous material from that. That is, I would say, also 80% complete. Community center project just started, so I would say we are under 5% on that. We are just reviewing the submittals, no actual physical work on that yet. But still, the target is to finish that project by end of this year. Not fiscal year, this year, 2025. And you're seeing a lot of street work. We've been doing all the sidewalk work, and annual paving and striping work is complete. You will see all this striping work is complete on 8th Street, 9th Street, Gintoli, 8th Street, and the sidewalk. In the last 2 years, we have constructed more than 2.5 miles of sidewalk in the city of Arcata. That includes Old Arcata Road project and all the sidewalk project. Big kudos to our community development team who got the housing grant through Sorrow Place, and we are using that money to do all the sidewalk improvements throughout the city, intersection improvements throughout the city. So that's a big thing. Normally we just see, before that we used to only spend $100,000 on the sidewalk, but now last 2 years we have spent like $2.5 million on just on the sidewalk. So that's huge from grants. Project in design phase. So this is the most recent of the printer layout of our Sunset Avenue and US 101 Interchange project. Right now we are at 65% design we received from our team, and we are reviewing that with our team and the contractors. Tomorrow evening between 5 and 7 p.m. there is a public meeting to discuss this project and get some feedback from the community. So we'll be holding that at Arcata Elementary School tomorrow between 5 and 7 p.m. Again, this project is led by Laura Kalichak, and she's here. And she'll be there tomorrow as well. Project in design phase, still that we have a whole list. We don't have pictures because we are still in design phase. We will have pictures when we finish the design and have some construction work. So we have sewer inflow infiltration project in design phase. We will be starting that project early next year. Construction, that's the goal. Redwood Park basketball court improvements, that's also in the books. We have started the survey work, and we'll be starting some design work and do some construction work early next year. We are planning for our annual pavement project to bid that early next year again. And we just started our First Street lift station, which gets all the sewer from Sunnybury area at the First Street lift station, and from that it gets lifted to the wastewater plant. So it's in the work in the design phase, early design phase. And also we are doing bike and pedestrian infrastructure project, still in early design phase, still planning to do the construction next summer, 2026. So these are the design projects. And then we have some planning project. We mentioned earlier, SAMSIP. You got a very long presentation 2 weeks ago on that one. That was very exciting. So it is in the planning phase. Similarly, we have through the same grant, we have a Safe Route to School project for the Ponte Nueva Charter School at James Road and Foster Avenue. So we are also working on that with the school and the neighborhood in that. So that's in the planning phase. And also our favorite project is in the planning phase, Reconnect Arcata project, which you will be seeing it again. Yeah, so this is it. So that's a quick update on the slides. We don't need any approval because we will be making some minor adjustments to the CIP document and bring that item as a consent in 2 weeks. Thank you.
I just was, while I know it was included in the CIP project report itself, it would have been great to see the Carlson Park project because it's not in a planning phase. It's almost done.
Carlson project is complete. We did the ribbon cutting, and I'm not sure why I missed it, but Carlson project is complete.
We get missed a lot. It's okay.
Stop it. Oh my goodness gracious. So let's open the public hearing. I was going to just open it and then take it back to the council. But okay, go ahead.
I just want to thank you and your crews. Your crews are tearing up my whole neighborhood right now, replacing sewer pipes, and we always look at the big hole in the ground. But it's amazing, like how you guys, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your whole team. And these are some really fundamentally great projects for Arcata. And I'm just proud to represent you. So thank you.
I want to give my love to engineering too. No. And just again, the personal touches, because I was thinking about Netra earlier today, because 8th and 9th Street are like totally done now. And I got my special parking spot, and it was completed, because I said, and I told Karen years ago, there could be another parking spot here. I think we need to, and then when I asked you about it, I said, oh yes, I know about your parking spot. And so it's really, it's nice to see the nimbleness and helpfulness of your staff too. And everything looks so great. 8th and 9th Street are awesome. And that's been a really nice change as somebody that lives on 9th Street too, to have the one way and just how calm the traffic is, and less incidences, and hopefully starting to hear less incidences on 9th and K Street too. So it's been a nice project to have completed. So thank you guys.
So Kimberly.
I just wanted to do a big kudos also we have been wonderful in getting all of these amazing grants. So, yeah.
So with that, I would like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item?
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and I'm most impressed, Netra, by the volume and the hugeness of what your team is doing. I had the opportunity to speak to one of your engineers about the community center and the solar, the roofing and the solar project, and the energy savings and the money savings and the grant monies that were available on that particular project. And you need to brag about that kind of stuff more to people like me who are really concerned about energy conservation and adapting for the climate. I also would like to say, having looked at the disbursements list on the consent calendar, we give a lot of money to the portable toilets in our community, and it's all for parks. And I went up to Carlson Park the other day and just opened the door to their toilet, and it looked pretty good. And then, of course, my concern is we don't have enough really decent bathrooms in our community, in a lot of places, not just the parks, and benches, and maybe even trash bins. So the B&B, not B&B, the B&B, bathrooms, benches, and trash bins. I know it's a small scale issue, and it maybe is not in your exact department, but the big infrastructure, great, and the little stuff, kind of matters too. Not a criticism, just needing to say that out loud. But I really appreciate especially the solar stuff that you're doing. And Sunday is on Sunday in Eureka.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak about this item? Okay, seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the council. So our opportunity is to receive and approve the update, but we've been asked to hold off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks until our next meeting. So we will just move along.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is oral and written communication. I'm assuming someone would like to speak under oral and written communication and have 3 minutes. You all know the drill. Thank you for coming forward.
Hello, my name's Tricia Murphy, and I'm here to talk about the sister city idea. I support that. I support you all signing the CalPERS letter, and I support boycotting Israel. That's a peaceful way to get a terrorist state to stop doing what they're doing. And I thought I'd focus my comments tonight on lies that the state of Israel and Zionists tell. In 1948, a land with no people for a people with no land was a big slogan that was used to enable the Zionists who came to Palestine to steal the land from mostly Palestinian people, Christians, Muslims, there was less than 7% Jewish people living there. The Palestinians were ethnically cleansed during the Nakba, which is the Great Catastrophe. 500 villages were destroyed. Israel says that they didn't want us Jews to be there, so we had to fight the Palestinians. Well, the truth is, and the Palestinian army, the truth is there was no Palestinian army. There's never been a Palestinian army. There's been a rebel group, Hamas, but there were just a few guys with hunting rifles. And Israel, backed by Britain, came in and stole that land. They said that they made the desert bloom. Palestinians, mostly Palestinians and some Jewish people, made the desert bloom. There's a movie, a documentary, and some young Israeli folks got together and did their research, and they went back into the archives of Israel, and they requested the information about the Nakba. And they were denied that for a long time, but they found a way to get around that, and they found some Israelis who were actually there and took part in that. And there's a movie called Tantura, and I highly recommend that people watch that. And it's very disturbing. They still laugh about what they did, whether it was raping people, burning people, like they were just being naughty. It's very strange. In 1967, Israel went in and did a surprise attack because they knew that eventually Egypt would be armed, and they took more land. And the plan from the very beginning, and the first president spoke about this, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, was to ethnically cleanse Palestine of Palestinians. I think the biggest lie that gets told, and the most frequently, is that the Palestinians hated these people because they were Jews.
Thank you so very much.
Because they were Jews.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. And we'll go on to council reports. And would you like to begin first? Okay.
We're at the first meeting we're at the point in the month where I haven't had a lot of my meetings yet, but I did attend. I'm the RCEA board representative to RCEA's Community Advisory Committee, and so I went to that meeting last week. And it's always a really good one because it's kind of the more nitty-gritty group of people that are definitely, you got to be pretty focused on energy and everything like that to want to be part of that group. So it's a nice preview for what usually our board will be seeing. But we talked just about RCEA's upcoming update to our power procurement goals and our power mix, and this goal that is looking more and more possible of being greenhouse gas emission free for RCEA's power mix by 2030, which is really exciting. And then we also had an update from the BTAC, which is the Biomass Technical Advisory Committee, which RCEA put together with a group of, some folks from the CAC, just experts kind of in the field on biomass, forest health, people from the sawmill, people from the air district, and they kind of basically have a transparency audit of the Humboldt Sawmill Company power plant twice a year and kind of go over those, look at, how many violations were there, how is it improving, are they replacing equipment, what is the Humboldt Sawmill Company doing to, lower emissions or prevent shutoffs, things like that, then they used to need to use diesel to start it back up. So it's always a interesting report to look at and kind of see where, that's at. And it's a nice little level of transparency that RCEA gets to have over that, power that we procure from biomass. So it was a really interesting meeting, and that's all I got. Equity Arcata meeting is next week, and RCEA board is next week as well.
Thank you. Shall we go we'll start at the end with Meredith and come back.
Yeah, I had a really long LAFCO meeting today. I'm Vice Chair of LAFCO, and we've been talking, this is the third continuation, we've been talking about annexations, and right now we're talking about the Neyland Fire District, but it's just really interesting how little things like the Neyland Fire District and what they're going through will have reverberations because some of the things that they're going through are going to end up affecting the Arcata Fire District. And so I just find all of it very interesting. It's one of the ancillary jobs that I really enjoy on the council. HWMA, I mean, yeah, very exciting. But I just want to recognize our wonderful film commission. The movie that was filmed in Arcata and other places in Humboldt County will be coming out next week, and it's getting like great reviews. And I'm just really proud that things like that can get filmed in Humboldt. So good job, Cassandra.
Hey, Kimberly.
So I'm excited. I get to lead next week to the National Association of Latino Elected Officials for the Building Resiliency Today for Tomorrow's Hazards Conference in Texas on disaster preparedness. I also attended the REDAC, Redwood Region Economic Development Commission Loan Committee today. I am learning so much on this, and I also love the opportunity to say yes to local loans. So this month's REDAC meeting was canceled, so I will not be attending again until October, but I will be attending the Cal Poly Humboldt liaison meeting in late afternoon on Monday. And I too am looking forward to the Equity Arcata next week meeting. And also Kuna had a free produce day yesterday in Valley West. All are welcome from everywhere. It's a bi-monthly free produce, and hopefully it will be weekly here soon. That's all I have.
So the North Country Fair is this weekend, and one of the things is Humboldt Transit Authority will have their bus there, and they will have Bigfoot. So people can get their pictures taken with Bigfoot, because Bigfoot will be wandering around bringing people towards the bus. And they've done that in the past, the last couple of years. And I do have these things. Eventually I'll give you all from HTA. They're back in my box, but one day I'll pull them out here and bring them out to the meeting. And besides that, we had a homeless services meeting today. That'll be an update. We're going to want to have some time before the council and let everybody know what's going on with legislation and funding sources from the federal government and how that's going to affect us all. Besides that, I'm here.
I'm sorry. I just really proud that I've been on the planning committee to help plan a women's leadership conference that's happening, next Thursday.
The 25th.
And it was an honor to be on the planning committee, and I think Alex is one of the speakers, so that's awesome. There are still some tickets left. I think you can get them on the chamber website.
Yeah, today
The
they
Eureka
announced on
Chamber.
CERT there were 5 tickets left. What I'm involved in is a panel, and putting a panel together of people that are of different ages that have been involved in creating businesses or economic development for the county. And so I put that together, and we're going to get together and have a meeting to talk about which questions, because we have 7 people for 1 hour, so it's going to be a fast thing. So have to figure that out. So it's coming.
Could I just add one more thing too? So I'll be attending a webinar tomorrow through NELI of the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. And we will be, the highlight will be about the cuts in Medicare, Medi-Cal, and of course for California it would be partnership, and how local jurisdictions might be able to help folks that are going to be suffering. So
Yep, that's
looking
part of
forward
it.
to
That's
ideas.
part of our report that'll happen. And would you like to add something more?
I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, with that, we have no further, we are not going to be adjourning to any future meetings. At this time, we have no closed sessions, no closed session reports, and we're adjourned. And thank you.